Hi everybody, I'm Zilla Blitz and welcome to the back half of our 6th mission in our custom campaign with By Stealth and Sea. When we last left our heroes, our crew of Walice and Lille were a mere few hundred meters away from the HMS Formidable, a massive British aircraft carrier. Can we sink it? It would give us 7 precious victory points and help us close the gap on our historical counterparts. Because yes, after 5 missions, we are losing to history by 12 points with a grand opportunity to close the gap in this mission. Even better, our other 2 crews are still in action as well. Davide and Ray are closing in on some cargo ships to the west of the harbor. Fileri and Ape are just a scant few meters away from the entrance to the west side of Gibraltar Harbor. All our crews are in action. We've got 3 hours left and we've got targets looming right in front of us. Can we have our best day ever? Let's find out. Here's an overview of Gibraltar Harbor at 3 a.m. on the 8th of December 1942. Now let's take a look at each of our SLC's positions. So here's a look at the situation on the west side of the harbor. We have 2 SLCs in the same position. SLC number 1, manned by Fileri and Ape, are heading towards the torpedo nets. However, they've just been spotted and detected by a patrol craft. SLC number 3, manned by Davide and Ray, are heading towards the west, aiming for these targets outside of the harbor. The east side of the harbor sees our most successful SLC in the mission so far. SLC number 2, manned by Walice and Lille, has just entered inside the harbor torpedo nets and is headed right for the HMS Formidable, a huge target worth a massive 7 points. All right, so we need to start off our 3:30 a.m. segment by rolling to see which one of our SLCs has a fault. If you saw the previous episode, you know that SLC number 2 had all 6 of the faults in that episode. In between episodes, I did roll this die a number of times to check it, and a substantially suspicious number of times it did come up as a 2. So we're going to finish this mission with this one anyway, hoping it actually isn't a 2 this time. It is a 1. There you go. Okay, so this time, Fileri and Ape have had a fault. That's not good. All right, let's see what has broken on SLC number 1. Hopefully something relatively innocuous. Breathing gear. Okay, now that's actually not too bad because we have 3 breathing gear tokens on each SLC right now. So if they don't repair this one, which takes a die roll of 6, they only lose 1 of those 3. Let's see what happens. They get a 5. That's not good enough. So they do lose a breathing gear token. That comes off and that goes off to the side. Still, in the range of malfunctions that can happen with an SLC, that one's pretty innocuous. Now let's go back to the harbor and make our actions for 3:30 a.m. SLC number 1, which has been detected, Fileri and Ape are going to proceed ahead submerged underneath this patrol boat here. That will remove their detection marker. However, puts them in range of those shore-based mortars. However, by using 1 action point, they have 1 action point left. It's an operational roll to see if they can evade the torpedo nets and get inside the harbor. Now, because they're submerged, it's not a very high option, but they need a roll of 6. Now, this could be key because these mortars are particularly deadly, and we have a patrol boat right on top of them. Let's hope for a 6. 5, so close. They do not get inside, though. We'll move them underneath the patrol boat, and hopefully the shore-based mortars will have no effect on them. Let's now, on SLC number 3, we're going to have them try to make an operational roll to move 2 squares ahead, and that way it'll get them kind of heading towards that cargo ship a little bit faster. To succeed, they need a 4, 5, or 6. They get a 5. They make the move. So they do that with 1 action point. Now they can try to turn submerged under the water. On a roll of 4, 5, or 6, they will make that turn again. They get a 5. They perform 2 successful maneuvers. SLC number 3, Davide and Ray, are now pointed right at a cargo ship. This, however, is perhaps our most important roll, heading right for the Formidable. Now, Walice and Lille are going to try to do the same thing that Davide and Ray did. They're going to try to make a 1-point operational move by going ahead 2 squares. They need a 4, 5, or 6 to succeed. They get a 2, which means they fail. Instead, they're going to use their 2nd action point then and just move ahead 1 square. Hopefully, next turn they can make that maneuver and succeed. That brings us now to the detection phase of the turn. Let's see what the enemy harbor defenses do. All right, now we have a lot of cards to pull, but there's only 6 cards left in the deck, and we know that one of those is the resetting 12. So the odds are, this could be an ugly turn here. We're going to roll for search. We're going to draw for searchlights first on SLC number 1, Valerian Ape, right at the gate. We do not want them detected. We get a 5. They are safe. That means one of our last 5 cards is a 12. SLC number 2 with the searchlights. They get the 12. That's not good. So SLC number 2, I've put a detected token on them. However, they will be moving forward in the next turn, so they could lose that detection. What we hopefully don't get is a patrol boat to show up there. I'm going to reset the deck. All right, we've reset the deck. Let's now pick for searchlights on Davide and Ray, hoping to stay undetected here. A 5, they do. We could have used that 5 in a moment, though, because now we go to the patrol craft detection. And we have some numbers that are changing. SLC number 1 is just submerged and they're outside the harbor. So that one is actually pretty good. A 10 or greater to spot us here. Let's see what we get. That would not be nice because there's an SLC on top of us. This is SLC's fate here is looking pretty grim because they have been detected. Another patrol craft comes screaming out of the harbor here. We've been fortunate so far, but things are turning a little bit. And patrol craft number 1, they're going to get depth charged by the patrol craft and attacked by the shore mortars. This is not looking good here. SLC number 2, Waliche and Lille, we're hoping now, they are inside the harbor. Their numbers are not very good either. Submerged inside the harbor and detected. They need a 6 or less to stay undetected. An 11. Patrol craft number 3 shows up right in front of them. Oof, things are starting to get grim here. So patrol craft number 3 shows up in front of Waliche and Lille. Our luck has turned here in the back half of this episode. Lastly, patrol craft for Davide and Ray. Hopefully they can stay undetected. 10 or greater will detect them. A 6. We could have used that. Okay, now comes the ugly parts here. So now we do our patrol craft. The patrol craft respond to our presence. Patrol craft number 1 is going to stay right on top of SLC number 1. They have to go nowhere, and they will depth charge. A 9 or greater hits. We're hoping that would stun them, and the shore-based mortars are right after that. Valerian Ape needs some luck. A 7. They survive that. That's the depth charge attack. Now we come down to our shore-based mortar. Submerged needs a 7 or greater to hit. So if that were the shore-based mortar, it would have hit them. We need less than a 7 to not get stunned. 8! Ow! So Valeri and Ape are stunned, which is not good. They've got a patrol craft in front of them. They're detected and stunned. To get inside the harbor, they would need a 6. Okay, well, that's for us to figure out in the next half hour here. Our patrol craft responses change here. SLC, patrol craft number 1 and number 2 and 3 here, kind of are ready for action in the next half hour. That brings us to the end of this turn. We're going to go to the 4 a.m. turn, and things have gotten decidedly ugly here. Let's roll now to see what our fault is on our SLC, hoping again to stay away from SLC number 2. Let's see what we get. It's a 2. Okay, I kind of thought that. So, the fault for Waliche and Lille. Let's hope it is not something seriously bad. Wetsuit fault. That's not what we want because that would stun them. We might actually use one of our breathing gear things to try to fix this if it is a failure. 4, 5, or 6 is the repair check. So the odds are 50% here. Let's hopefully they've fixed everything up till now. 4, excellent. They fix it and they suffer no ill effects from the wetsuit fault. Perfect. Let's go back and see what we can do with our turn now. So Valeri and Ape have patrol craft number 1 right on top of them. Patrol craft number 2 is bearing down on them. This is looking rather grim. We have a number of options. One would be to try to recover the stunning. However, they only have one action point, and if they recover getting stunned, that would mean that would leave them right here. Both of these patrol craft are going to attack, and they're going to get hit by shore-based mortar. So that would be 3 attacks. I don't think they can survive. The thing that they could do, however, they can't turn because they're facing towards the torpedo nets, so they would use their action point to turn away, still leaving them detected in the same area. I think our bold move is to try to go through the torpedo nets and burn through our breathing gear if we can't get that roll. Now, they need a 6 to be successful on this attempt. It's low odds, but I think it still is our best chance for them to try to survive this attack. So we're going to try to have them go through the anti-torpedo net. They need a roll of 6. Maybe as Patrol Craft 2 is coming out, they can go in or something like that. Let's see what happens. Going for a 6. Get a 4. All right, we're going to burn a breathing gear to try this again. Hopefully, now they've got 1 extra, but we don't want to use that. They need a 6 to get through. 3. They failed. Do we roll it again? You know, I think we do. I think we have to because they're going to die. If they stay there, they're going to get attacked 3 times. They're going to die. There's no way they're going to live. So we're going to go for it again. Going through the torpedo nets, we need a 6 to get through. Their lives hang in the balance. 2. Okay, such is life. SLC number 2, Walice and Lille are going to be a little more conservative here. They're going to move straight north towards the Formidable, and that's going to take up 1 action point. Now they're heading right towards the harbor walls here, so that will lose their detection. They're going to try to make a maneuver to turn, which means they need a 4, 5, or 6 to successfully execute this. Oh, they get a 2. They don't turn. That's not good. Well, hopefully this patrol craft will move away. Now let's go down to SLC number 3. All right, SLC number 3, Davide and Ray are going to push forward and use 1 action point to move forward 1. Then they're going to use their remaining action point to try a full move, which would put them 2 squares and right underneath the cargo ship. They need a 4, 5, or 6 to pull this off. They get a 4. They are on fire. Davide and Ray slide underneath quietly off here on the side of the harbor by themselves. They are underneath the cargo ship. Excellent. That brings the end of our actions. Now let's go for enemy detection. So we're going to start with the spotlights. SLC number 1 has already been detected, so we don't pull for them. SLC number 2, Walice and Lille, are up at the harbor there on 11. Would spot them. They get a 4. Oh, that's a good card. We would have saved for something else. Next we go to Davide and Ray. Let's hope they don't get spotted. Woo! A 10. Just barely dodged those spotlights. Now we go to the patrol craft responses. SLC number 1 already has 2 patrol craft bearing down on them, and they have been detected. So they, however, are submerged. They are detected. They're outside of the harbor. An 8 or greater would bring another patrol craft down on them. Oh my goodness, their luck has gone sideways. Patrol craft number 4 comes screeching out of the harbor and heads right for them. Oh, SLC number 2. Now we can't have SLC number 2 get detected here. This would be catastrophic. Let's see if we get a 7. Excellent. So SLC number 2, Walice and Lille stay undetected near the Formidable. SLC number 3, Davide and Ray hoping for similar luck. A 9. Patrol craft's response would have had to be successful on a 10. So they just dodged the spotlight and they just dodged the patrol crafts. Excellent work, Davide and Ray. Now comes the kind of ugly part. First of all, we have to move our patrol craft. This patrol craft has just arrived. Patrol craft number 1 is already in its happy spot. Patrol craft number 2 moves to its happy spot. Patrol craft number 3 up near Walice and Lille. We'll have to see what they do because they've lost track of Walice and Lille. So patrol craft number 3 is right around Walice and Lille. Now what we want them to do is we don't want them to roll a 2 because they can't go in direction 2. We don't want them to roll a 7 or 8 because that will keep them there. We need them away. We need a 3, 4, 5, 6, or a 1. 6. Excellent. That's a good roll for us. Patrol craft number 3 senses that Walice and Lille have gone for this destroyer over here, and they go off in the wrong direction. Excellent. Now, that takes care of patrol craft movement. We go to patrol craft attack. Walice and Lille cannot get attacked. However, that is not the case for Falaria and Ape. Falaria and Ape trying to frantically claw their way through the torpedo net and gain entrance to the harbor and elude the detection of the patrol craft that are dropping depth charges on their head. Pounding them all around are shore-based mortars as well. 3 attacks will come down on them. Now for the patrol craft here, they are submerged. So in order to hit, the patrol craft need a 9 or greater. 6. They survive the first attack. Patrol craft number 2 attacks. Same odds. 7. They survive the second attack. Now we go to the shore-based mortars. The shore-based mortars, because they're submerged, they need a 7 or greater. Could they survive? They need a 6 or less. Falaria and Ape have been hit by shore-based mortars again. This time, they do not come out alive. SLC number 1 has been eliminated. Falaria and Ape have gone to their watery graves, and that is their saga in By Stealth and Sea. That brings us to the end of the 4 a.m. turn. Let's go now to our 4:30 a.m. turn and see what happens. First of all, we have to make our first roll on breakage, hoping to stay away from SLC number 2 again, because they're closing right in on the Formidable. Let's get lucky here. The 1 would be nice, because they're already out of action. 3, okay, not good, but not horrific, I suppose. Let's see what happens to Davide and Ray. All right, so Davide and Ray have all 3 of their tokens here, so they could re-roll a repair roll if we need to. I'd hate to see them have a problem now that requires some kind of, well, we'll see what we get here. But over we get ballast tank fault, repair check of 5. If this fails on the ballast tank, they have to come to the surface right away. So a roll of a 5 or a 6 to repair it. Let's see what happens. They have not had to fix anything all night. Let's get a 5 or a 6. Oh, 1. Okay, this would pop them up on the surface. We're not going to burn up one of their breathing gear tokens to try to fix this. My thinking is that they can go quickly and use those breathing gear tokens to try to detach and attach the warhead and sink the cargo ship. And if they can do that, they can get out of here. We'll only have to have 1 turn with good luck. So rather than screw around and burn up a token on a 1 out of 3 roll, we're going to save these breathing gear tokens for when they kind of start working on this cargo ship. So we're going to take that ballast tank hit, and they are going to pop up to the surface. So they are now on the surface right next to that cargo ship, because it doesn't impede their function with attaching or detaching the warhead. So now let's go to our turn and see what we can do. All right, we're going to be a little bold here with, well, actually, we lose a whole turn if we screw this up. No, we're not. We're going to use both points, and they're going to turn and head towards the Formidable here. In order to turn underwater, they need to use both points to make that maneuver. So, but that's the way it goes. Otherwise, there'd be a 50% chance. But if we fail it, they can't do anything. So we're going to be a little cautious here. I'm not sure that's the right move, but Walice and Lille take some time, be very careful and precise, and point their SLC right at the HMS Formidable. Davide and Ray, however, are going to try to accelerate. Now that they're up on the surface, they're going to try to accelerate this operation here. They're going to spend 1 action point to try to detach their warhead. So the procedure again to sink a ship is they have to detach the warhead and then attach the warhead. It's 2 separate actions. So they're going to try to accept 1 action point here to detach, which will succeed on a roll of a 4, 5, or 6. Let's go, guys. Get this warhead off. 2. Okay. Gosh, I was hoping for a better roll here. They're going to burn up one of their tokens now and try to detach the warhead again. So again, they use one of their 3 breathing tokens. They need a 4, 5, or 6. 3! Gosh. Okay, we're going to burn 1 more because I really want to accelerate through this. So they have 1 left. They're going to try to burn this one up. A 4, 5, or 6 to succeed. Seriously? All right, so that ends, well, that was 1 turn. Is there anything else they can do? Oh, yes. They can actually burn 1 more token and try to make a repair check on the ballast. So they need a 5 or a 6 to get that. There's the 5. We gotta just flip the order. Okay, so anyway, they do succeed at fixing the ballast tank. So that's good, I guess. They could submerge in the next turn if they need to, but they are going to be on the surface, and they were unable to proceed at all with detaching the warhead. Let's check for the enemy response now. Working in our favor here a little bit is because SLC number 1 is gone, the 3 patrol craft that were here have been simulated to be kind of moving back inside the harbor and out of range, so we take them off the board. Now we're going to do our detection. Searchlights on SLC number 2, hoping for a 10 or less. 8, they survive. Searchlights on SLC number 3 need the same thing, a 6. That's good. Now we come to patrol craft. SLC number 2 is submerged inside the harbor, so a 9 or greater would spot them, and SLC patrol craft is right next to them, so we don't want this to happen. We want an 8 or less, of course. Please, please, please. Oh, nice, a 3. They don't even come close. Likewise, Davide and Ray are outside the harbor, however, they're surfaced. This is where it gets a little bit ugly because they need an 8 or greater to detect us when we're on the surface, so hoping for a 7 or less. Ah, spotted. So patrol craft number 1 returns and appears right in front of Davide and Ray's SLC. So let's figure out the movement now. 3's patrol craft has just arrived, so they don't move this turn. Patrol craft number 3, however, is right next to SLC number 2, and they're going to do a random move. We want them to get a 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. We do not want a 3 to move on top of them. A 2. Okay, a 2 means they go north, they go up here towards the porcupine. They're kind of buzzing around us, but they have yet to spot us. Okay, that brings us to the end of the 4:30 a.m. turn. Now we're going to go to the 5 a.m. turn. First thing we have to do is to roll to see which one of our SLCs has a fault, hoping for SLC number 1, which is out of action. SLC number 1, excellent. So no problems there with faults. Now it's our turn to make our actions. So it's relatively straightforward for SLC number 2. They're going to use 1 action point to slip underneath the Formidable. Now, their next action point here will be to detach their warhead. They only have 1 action point left, however, so what they're going to have to do is to make an operational roll, which is a 4, 5, or 6 to detach the warhead. This is where Davide and Ray got stuck. We're hoping that Walice and Lile can pull this off here. Ah, they fail. Okay, let's go over to Davide and Ray and to see what they're going to do. All right, so with the patrol craft right on the surface next to them, a surface attack is pretty deadly. It needs a 6 or greater to succeed. And if we dive, do we lose detection? No. All right, they're going to try to blow up the ship. That's what we're going to try to do. We need a 4, 5, or 6 to detach the warhead. 5, excellent. So they detach the warhead, and it is now beside their SLC, and they need to put it on the ship. They need another 4, 5, or 6 to successfully attach the warhead onto the cargo ship and blow it up. They may not have another chance. Whoops, over the board. Come on, guys, get it, get it, get it, get it. Yes! Davide and Ray blow up the cargo ship and send it to the bottom of the harbor. Excellent work, gentlemen. Now they just have to survive this attack, scuttle their craft, and get out of here. We go now, however, to the enemy response half of the turn. We're running out of time here. Things are getting close to the end. One thing I decided I want to do, we're going to have Walice and Lile burn through one of their breathing tokens to try again to detach the warhead before we go to the 5:30 a.m. turn. Because they're running out of time. They have to do 3 things in order to be able to survive. We might as well try to save a whole turn by burning through one of their tokens right now. So a 4, 5, or 6 to successfully detach the warhead. Come on, Davide and Ray did it. You guys can do it too. 6, excellent. Okay, so that helps. The warhead is now beside their SLC. That means they can blow up the Formidable on the next turn, if they're still here, and then try to escape potentially too, in the turn after that. So that's good. That gets them back on track. All right, so now it's time for us to see how the enemy respond here in this 5 a.m. segment. So first of all, we're going to do searchlights on Walice and Lile. An 11 or greater to spot us. A 9, excellent, that misses. Davide and Ray, however, are on the surface. A 9 would spot them. The 9 or greater, oh, they've actually already been detected, right? We know that. Okay, so yeah, because a patrol craft showed up in the last time, so they have been detected already. So they don't do the spotlights. Now we go to patrol craft response. Walice and Lile, they are inside the harbor, submerged, And so that is a 9 or greater to spot us. Hopefully less than a 9. 8. Whew, that's huge. That means they will get it. They will blow up the Formidable. They can take their whole half-hour turn, and they can I should say, pending some kind of fault that's going to hit them here. Okay, so now we have to do for detection for Davide and Ray. Hopefully another patrol craft doesn't spot them here, but they're on the surface and they've been detected. So a 6 or greater spots them. That's not good. 6. Oh, they're spotted. A second patrol craft comes flying out of the harbor here. Patrol craft number 1 is ready to attack. Patrol craft number 2 appears in front of them. That's not going to be good. Okay, well, hopefully we can survive it. Now let's go to, so that takes care of the patrol craft detection. Now we have to go to the patrol craft movement and response. Here we have patrol craft number 1 is going to move right next to Davide and Ray, and they're going to attack. This is the one that they need to survive. That's bad though, because you can't scuttle if there's a patrol craft in the same hex. And I was hoping they could go forward and then scuttle. That's not good. They're not going to get away. Oof, and they could, that 1 point. Okay, anyway, we'll leave that there. Let's go now to our other patrol craft number 3. Patrol craft number 3, we're going to roll for their movement. It really doesn't matter too much. They don't know where SLC number 2 is. They get a 5, which moves them straight back on top here of the puckerage. So they still are searching in the wrong spot. You'd think they would have known that we would have gone for the aircraft carrier. Maybe they didn't think we would be so bold. So they don't know, but now we have to go down to the patrol craft attack. This is where it gets potentially ugly. So patrol craft attack on Davide and Ray. In order for them to hit, because they're on the surface, they need a 6 or greater. Oh, okay, it's ugly. Hoping for something really good. Oh, 12. So Davide and Ray are stunned, and that's not good. And we have to reshuffle all the cards here. So I'm going to go do that, and we'll be right back. So that brings us to the end of our 5 a.m. segment. Patrol craft number 2 is alerted and full of energy to attack Davide and Ray. Things look rather grim there. So now we have to go for our fault in the 5:30 a.m. turn. The ever-present 2. Let's see what happens. All right, so Alice and Lille are going to pull their fault. It's not necessarily good. Breathing gear. I mean, I suppose it could have been worse. They need a 6 to repair it. That would take their last extra die roll away, however. I was hoping that we could save that for an attempted escape. Let's see what happens here. Get lucky. 3. We do not get lucky. The breathing gear is removed. Now, they don't get stunned by that, but that takes away their extra die roll that we could have perhaps used for survival. All right, so with that, now it is time for us to take action. All right, so this is a simple thing to do. They're undetected, they're in the harbor, they're underneath the Formidable, they've attached the warhead to the Formidable. Walice and Lille are now going to detonate the warhead, spending all of their action points, because we can't afford to not get this. And they have sunk the aircraft carrier Formidable. A glorious day for our underwater commando teams, getting our first aircraft carrier and our second big target of the campaign. Congratulations to Walice and Lille. Now, if all goes well and they can stay undetected, they should get one chance to escape here in the 6 a.m. turn. Davide and Ray's situation, however, is looking rather grim. Because they're on the surface and they're stunned, and because there's another patrol craft there, can they scuttle? They can't scuttle. Yeah, you can't scuttle if a patrol craft is in the same hex. And they have one action point. You know, and if they dive... Okay, I think their only hope is to try to dive. And then if they can dive and somehow survive these attacks, no, but they're still going to be detected. And they only have one action point. So they have to recover. But if they're going to be detected and covered on the surface, they're totally screwed. They can't. They just have to. There's nothing we don't have enough time. Because they can't turn and move away. Oh, I know what it is. Okay, I see their only hope here. Their only hope is to be in this square and have 2 action points in the next turn. Because this patrol craft is going to come here. They're probably going to have another one show up, but if it doesn't, this patrol craft's going to come here, put 2 patrol crafts on them. That would leave the hex in front of them open. If they had 2 action points in the next turn, they could move forward and then scuttle and then escape. But it's super unlikely, and we have to make this roll here. So they are going to try to regain their stamina here. They're going to try to recover. So they need a 4, 5, or 6 to recover. And they could make this roll again, too, couldn't they? Because they have 1 breathing gear token left. So recovery is a 4. The next one would be a 5 if they've used up their stamina check as a 5 rather than a 6. But this one would be a 4. So on a roll of a 4, they recover and give them 2 action points next turn. They still have to survive this turn, which is unlikely, but it's better than a 0% chance of survival. So they need this roll to have any chance of surviving. They get a 4. Excellent. So they have recovered their stamina. Perfect. Now, if all goes well, the patrol craft suck towards us. No new patrol craft appears. DVD and Ray scuttle ahead 1 square in the next turn, and then they try to scuttle their craft and escape in the last 6 a.m. just before dawn. Okay, so we've taken all our actions. Now it's time for the enemy reactions. We're hoping for good things here. All right, the deck has been shuffled. Our last turn, perhaps, for detection here. Okay, first up, SLC number 2, the searchlights. Hoping for less than an 11. 10 would be fine. Ooh, I called that one. A 10. All right, so they are just okay. Now, SLC number 3, DVD and Ray have already been detected, so we don't have to do searchlights for them. Next we do for the patrol craft response. This would be huge because for SLC number 2, if they are detected by a patrol craft, SLC number 3 is going to come on top of them and attack them, which would mean that they can't escape in the next turn unless they pivot and get away, and they might get attacked and get stunned, which could end their lives. So this is literally their pull to perhaps save their life. They're submerged in the harbor, so detected is a 9 or greater. We need an 8 or less. Oh, please, 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 please. Woo! Oh, nice. So they will have 1 chance to escape in this upcoming half hour. Okay, so let's go down now to SLC number 3, DVD and Ray. This is also their fate because if a patrol craft shows up in front of them, they're not going to be able to get, they're not going to be able to get away. So we need the patrol craft, it's surfaced and they're detected. So it's a 6 or greater for another patrol craft to show up. Oh, we need a 5 or less to have any hope of survival. How about it, Commando Gods? Oh, a 5! Nice! Okay, those were 3 consecutive pulls that were all 1 away. A 10, an 8, and a 5 when they needed an 11, a 9, and a 6. That was pretty nice. Okay, but so now we have to go down to determine some things. We can do patrol craft movement first. So patrol craft movement up here, patrol craft number 3, I don't think it matters, but it's going to move in a random direction. An 8 means it stays where it is. So that's going to stay there. Now let's go check out DVD and Ray's situation. All right, so DVD and Ray, patrol craft number 2 is going to shuffle straight ahead here. It's going to go right on top of them. Now, if they get stunned by one of these attacks, and the likelihood here is they're not going to be able to make it, right? If they get stunned by both attacks, they are killed, because the second stunning is a killing. They have recovered, so they're back up. They have 2 action points left. Both patrol craft need to miss in order for them to have a chance to scamper away in the next half hour and try to scuttle their craft. The attacks here, because they're on the surface, they hit on a 6 or greater. So we need 5s or less. I don't think the odds are really good because we had to remove a bunch of cards from the deck. An 8, that is the end. The first one stuns them. A 6 or greater would kill them. 7. Davide and Ray have been killed in action after sinking the cargo ship. We've lost our 2nd SLC of the night tonight and our 2nd crew. A moment of silence. That brings us to the end. Now these patrol craft are cleaned up because there's nothing near them. That brings us to the end of the 5:30 a.m. We go to our 6 a.m. turn, our last turn of the night. We start our 6 a.m. turn with the fault check. We don't want a 2 now. Get a 3. Okay, so that's fine. That 3 is already knocked out of action, so no fault. Now it comes time for Wallice and Lille to perform their action. All right, so Wallice and Lille are going, the action is obvious. They're going to use both of their action points to successfully scuttle SLC number 2. And now we have to see if they can survive. The odds, however, have turned a little bit against them. So Wallice and Lille, normally they need a 4 or higher to escape. Now keep in mind they have no breathing gear tokens on their card, so they only are going to get 1 roll at this. However, if it's 5 o'clock or earlier, they get a +1 modifier. They do not get that. Their operators are ready. They are not stunned. So we're going to add 1 to the die. So instead of a 4 or higher, we need a 3 or higher. However, because they're inside a harbor, it's -1. So now we need a 4 or higher. And because there's no SLC token on the breathing gear space, they've burned through their last one, we get another -1. So instead of a 4 or higher, Wallice and Lille need a 5 or higher to succeed. Their lives hang in the balance. Are they captured, or do they successfully elude capture and make their way back to Italian forces? A 5 or a 6, they would have an experience point too, and it would give us another victory point. Die roll gods, let's go. Get it, get it, get it. Yes! Nice! They have survived! Outstanding! On a night when I thought we were going to lose all 3 of our crews, Wallice and Lille perform a miraculous escape after sinking the HMS Formidable. That's excellent. We will have an experienced crew for our remaining 3 missions. Let's wrap this up. So let's recap. Valeri and Ape killed in action trying to get through the torpedo nets. They made 3 valiant attempts, but the shore-based mortars ended their lives. Their SLC was destroyed and we lost them in action. 0 victory points, and we add 2 points to the harbor defense alertness. Davide and Ray sink a cargo ship after their ballast tank fails on them. They bravely pushed ahead. That will get them a bronze medal. However, on the surface, they were the victims of patrol craft and were also killed in action. Perhaps a rash decision, because scuttling an SLC and saving a crew is worth 2 victory points. Sinking the cargo ship was only worth 1. Wallice and Lille, however, are heroes of the night. They forged ahead despite constant breakdowns with their SLCs. They fixed everything, burst through the torpedo nets, went straight ahead for the Formidable, blew it up, and then as the sun was rising over the Gibraltar harbor, they scampered away from the searchlights and the patrol crafts into the city, made their way through enemy lines, recovered by Italian underground troops, and brought back to our headquarters for continued service. They gain a valuable experience point. They gain 7 points for sinking the Formidable and 2 points for saving themselves and scuttling their craft, giving us a total of 9 for their actions and 10 overall. Now, we were losing to history by 12 points at the beginning of this mission. We picked up 10. Historical counterparts only picked up 2 in their mission. That means going into our 7th mission, with 3 missions left, we're losing to history by 4 points. Our next mission will be in Algiers. I'll put a link to it up here as soon as it's ready. In the meantime, you might want to check out our recent unboxing of Nevsky, the first game in the Levy and Campaign series. Thanks everybody for watching.